Hello and welcome. For this video, I'm going to explain the art process of this current clip as a beginner on Blender 2D animation tools. For quite some time, I have seen beautiful artworks made with Blender by artists such as Deduz, Kevin Drum, Squishy Squirrel, Sophie Jantak, or Mako Gucci. But I always felt overwhelmed by Blender and all of the different features it had. Despite following Blender Guru Dono tutorial, I don't remember anything of it. The UI, the shortcuts, the sculpting, the nodes, I don't remember anything. So I'm basically back at square one. Today, I decided it was time to finally overcome my fears and frustration, and to start learning from zero again how to use Blender. Consider this video as the first entry of the logbook of a novice in Blender. And for this first entry, I'm going to explain to you how I've done my first project in 2.5D, and everything I learned during the process. After drawing the element of the scene, I modify what I drew on Krita, and separate the character in three parts: the arm resting on the fence of the balcony, and the rest of the body. To add the images on a 3D scene easily, I'm going to check for an add-on. I go to Preferences and search for the Add Image as Plane add-on and check it. Now, by pressing Shift and A in object mode, I can now add the plane and start composing the scene. I add the building, the character, the arm holding the fence, the inside of the room the character is in, and I add a background to the scene to make it look like the sun is setting. What I wanted for my scene is to have the camera slowly move from one side of the building to another. So what I did here is that I added a curve to serve as a path for my camera. I press Shift and A and go to Curve and select Bezier. Then I modify its shape in Edit mode by clicking on the extremity of the curve and moving it around. I'm quite satisfied with my Bezier curve, but the position is off and I wanted the curve to be on the same plane as the camera. What I did here is that I checked an add-on called Align Tools. I select the curve, then the camera while holding Shift, and I press the All button in Align Location to finally align the two objects. After this step, I wanted to see what is the camera view from one point of the curve to another. So I'm going to place the camera on the extremity of the curve. To do that, I press Shift and S and press Cursor to selected. Then I select the camera, press Shift and S and select Selection to Cursor. Now, to define the curve as a path for my camera to move along, I select the camera, then the curve while holding Shift. And I'm going to press Ctrl and P and select the option Follow Path to link the camera to the curve. To make the camera focus on a specific object, I select the camera and go to Object Constraint Properties to add a constraint, and then I click to Track to. Then I select the target to be the character. I wanted my scene to include trees that look a bit like a pencil drawing. For the first step of the tree creation, I'm going to follow the tutorial made by Kevin Drum on how to make a grease pencil tree. I highly recommend that you check it out, and I put a link in the description. So let's go roughly to the main step that I wrote down on my novice notebook. I go to the Preferences and I add the Sapling Tree Gen add-on. I press Shift and A to add a new object. I go to Curves and I click on Tree. I convert the tree to a mesh. Then a grease pencil object. And from that point, I'm going to use a slightly different process to draw the leaves on the tree. Because I wanted the tree to have a sketchy pencil style, what I did is that I installed the traditional pencil brush pack made by Sophie Jantak, combined with the Pepperland brush pack used by Kevin Drum. So I download the two brush pack. To install the brushes, I go to File and I click on Append, For the Mimeline brush pack, I click on the blend file and select the brush folder. From there, I select all of the brushes that start with 2p and an underscore, then I click on Open. I do the same with the Sophie Gentac brush pack and include the brushes that start with hg underscore. The only difference is that for each of the pencil brushes that I'm going to use, I'm also going to add a new material and select the material of the same name with only the fill option checked. Then, after setting the brush placement to stroke and the drawing plane to view, I can finally start drawing the leaves. I started off with the Mimeline sketch brush for the leaves. Then, I use one of Sophie's brushes to add a hatching texture. And here is our tree. To finish the tree, I add a noise modifier to give them this jittery style. I also add a rim effect and make them slightly glow. I also draw some clouds and add a rim effect and a glow effect to them. Finally, I decided to follow a tutorial made by 2D Toolbox on how to add a noise texture to my animation. And that's it for my first Blender project. Despite being very intimidated by Blender at first, I am now completely addicted to it, and I cannot wait to install new add-on and brushpack and just try them out. If you liked that video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos to come. Goodbye!